Here we are, almost live with your Big 12 football preview show for 2009. Just a reminder, if you missed any of my episode 1, I highlighted 2009 college football in general, told you about the contenders. If you'd like to catch that, you can find it either on Facebook or on YouTube. Episode 3, by the way, we'll have an in-depth preview of Oklahoma, of the Sooners football season and their team, so be checking for that pretty soon. Right now, this is episode 2, and we're going to highlight the Big 12 Conference, beginning with the Big 12 North, which has been the Big 12 nothing because they haven't won the Big 12 Conference since 2003, and there's not really much of a sign that they're going to do it this year either. Who do I like, though, to get beat by the South to represent the North? I'll take Nebraska. Even though I don't think they're that good offensively, I do like their schedule. They don't play Texas or Oklahoma State. Plus, defensively, I think they're solid. They returned Ndamukong Suh, the Defensive Player of the Year, at least preseason Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. He's back at his defensive tackle spot, and Pierre Allen returns at defensive end. Two really good players. Offensively, though, they're starting over with the likes of Joe Gans and Marlon Lucky, both gone. Gans was a very good quarterback. Lucky, a speedster from his running back spot. Zach Lee will take over at quarterback, and again, it's going to be kind of a new Nebraska offense. I think Nebraska will probably win 8 or 9 games overall, and will go 6-2 in the North. Kansas, I don't think their schedule will allow them to win more than 6 conference games. Probably only 5 conference games they'll win. In the South, they play at Texas Tech, and at home against Oklahoma. I think they go 0-3 against those teams. So even if they run the table against the North, because of that South schedule, I think Kansas will be in trouble. But at least offensively, they'll be fun to watch. Todd Reesing returns at quarterback, as well as his 2 receiving targets. That's Kerry Meyer and Des Briscoe. Missouri, they've won the Big 12 the last 2 years. Not going to do it this year, though. They lose Chase Daniel, the quarterback, Chase Kaufman, the All-American tight end, and Jerry Macklin, the speedster running back kick returner. He's playing in the NFL. So it's going to be kind of a new offense for Missouri as far as the passing game, but the running game's intact. Derek Washington returns at running back. He gained over 1,000 yards last year for the Tigers. But defensively, Missouri was horrible against the pass, dead last in the Big 12 against the pass, and 3rd to last in the country. But returning at linebacker is Sam Weatherspoon, probably the best linebacker in the Big 12. Highlighting the North real quickly, the rest of the teams, Kansas State does return the head coach that basically brought them to football prominence. That's Bill Snyder. He's out of retirement. He takes over for the fired Ron Prince. Don't expect miracles in Manhattan to happen anytime soon for Kansas State. They gave up way too many points last year, and they also lost their quarterback early, Josh Freeman. He's playing in the NFL. So it's going to be retooling, and it's going to have to be a whole brand new way of recruiting for Kansas State. They fell behind everybody else in that department over the years. And then Colorado, big year for Dan Hawkins. I think if they don't win at least 6 games, he's out of the job. Colorado's offense was woeful, and they gave up a ton of sacks last season. Darrell Scott, though, does return at running back for the Buffaloes. And then Iowa State, new head coach in Paul Rhodes. They're going to be running a spread offense. They're going to be running an offense that's going to go no huddle. It will take his Cyclones time to learn it, but I think any change you make in Ames, Iowa is a positive one. Any change is good considering that they lost 10 games in a row last season. So there you have it. I like Nebraska to edge out Kansas to win the North. Now looking at the South, I think you have 3 teams that are going to have national names this season. Oklahoma and Texas, they've been national names for a while. Now Oklahoma State has a chance to join the party. I think all 3 teams are going to play cutthroat. I think one's going to beat one, one's going to beat one, and then the other one's going to beat the other one. I think it'll be a 3-way tie for the North. And how I think it's going to work, I think Texas is going to edge out Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. I know you think I'm crazy, but remember, this is a series that kind of comes and goes in cycles. Oklahoma won several in a row, 5 in a row to begin the decade. Texas has won, however, 3 of the last 4. And last year, I thought when Ryan Rolls got hurt for Oklahoma, Oklahoma did a poor job in adjusting to that, and Texas exploited Oklahoma over the middle in the second half of that game, and Oklahoma could not stop them. So right now, I give Oklahoma the underdog role in that game. Doesn't mean they can't win it, but it does mean that Texas, because of the players that they have coming back and the fact that things are going well for them in this rivalry, I'd give them the edge over the Sooners. But I think Texas will lose at Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State will be unbeaten overall and in the Big 12 entering that Halloween game in Stillwater against Texas. And unlike previous years where Oklahoma State could not finish the job against the Longhorns, I think this time they play the complete game and get the monkey off their back and finally beat Texas. But I don't think Oklahoma State can win at Oklahoma. This isn't the 2001 Sooners where Oklahoma State went into Norman and pulled off the upset. That's not going to happen this time. This Oklahoma offense is much better than that one, and Oklahoma is now more of a dominant team at home. They've only lost 2 home games in the Bob Stoops era and have not lost a home game since 2005. 85,000 screaming Sooner fans in Norman. Yeah, that's going to be pretty tough for Oklahoma State to try to overcome. And again, I don't think Oklahoma State's defense is going to be able to handle Oklahoma, especially in that Sooner environment. So I think all 3 teams beat each other. I think Oklahoma will have the upper hand, though, as far as the tiebreaker goes. They will have the upper hand in the BCS standings once the regular season is over. Because their loss would have been the least recent. So they'll pass Oklahoma State and Texas in the BCS standings, will represent the South in the Big 12 title game. They'll beat Nebraska, and then they'll play Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, and they'll win that. But because of that loss to Texas, I don't think they're going to be able to get to the national championship game, because I think Florida will be there, and I think Penn State, because of their easy schedule, will be unbeaten, and OU will not have a chance to pass them once the season's over. So that's what I think is going to happen. Let's highlight Texas real quick, and Colt McCoy. He returns for the Longhorns. He finished second in the Heisman a year ago. He can hurt you with his arm, but he can also hurt you by running the ball. He led the Texas Longhorns in rushing a year ago. I don't think Matt Brown wants to see that trend continue. You'd rather have your running back lead the team in rushing, not your quarterback. You don't want to leave your quarterback as a hitting target when your quarterback gets out of the pocket. Returning, though, also for Texas, McCoy's going to love throwing to Jordan Shipley, his roommate, and a very speedy, good hand receiver. He also returns kicks and punts. Very dangerous player. Shipley back for his 6th year after getting a medical hardship year from the NCAA. And the offensive line, for the most part, for Texas, they are back. Now, looking at their defensive secondary is back. They lose their defensive end, Brian Arakipo, the defensive player of the year ago. Sergio Kendall will probably step in from his linebacker spot and take over the role as pass rusher at the defensive end slot. Oklahoma State, they return a ton on offense, including Zach Robinson, as well as the leading rusher from a year ago in the Big 12 in Kendall Hunter, and the best receiver in the country in Dez Bryant. Most of the offensive line is back. They do lose Brandon Pettigrew to the NFL, the outstanding tight end, but the offense, for the most part, should not miss a beat. Defensively, they have to get better. They could not get a pass rush. They got bullied around. They got pushed around. Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oregon had their way with them last year, which all 3 led to losses. So Oklahoma State, if they're going to get to that next level, they must get better defensively. I think they will, because they have a new defensive coordinator, and they're stressing more on getting tough on defense. The question is, how much will Oklahoma State improve on the defensive side? Looking at the rest of the Big 12, Texas Tech loses Graham Harrell, the quarterback, Michael Crabtree, the receiver, and they also lose their best pass rusher in Brandon Williams. So Tech's going to have some retooling to do. Their schedule's a little tougher than normal. At Houston, at Texas in the month of September, at Nebraska, at Oklahoma State, at home against Oklahoma. 4, possibly 5 losses there. Baylor, it's going to be close. I don't know if they're going to get to a bowl game or not, but their schedule, I guess, will give them an opportunity to. If they can beat Connecticut at home, win 2 of their 3 other conference non-conference games, and then pull off a victory against A&M, at Iowa State, and maybe against Tech, there are your 6 wins right there. I think Baylor, though, will finish just a win shy of becoming bowl eligible. In Texas A&M, they are now the new cellar dwellers of the South. Bad offensively, bad defensively, bad special teams, just bad for the Aggie Wrecking Crew a year ago. They do return Jeff Fuller, though, at wide receiver. He caught 9 TD passes for him a year ago, but he's one of the few bright spots on a team that didn't have any bright spots except Fuller last year. I don't know if A&M can get back to the A&M of old anytime soon. They should be a doormat for teams this season in college football. That will do it for the Big 12 South. Our Oklahoma football preview comes your way on our next episode. Goodbye for now, and may the sports be with you. And I just can't seem to